Alright, here we are underneath the car. Let's see, this is the transmission pan. This here. Those are 10 millimeter bolts. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We got 20 of those. So we got 20 bolts. And as I can see under here, I got a leaky oil pan. Yeah, I don't think that's something I'm going to be able to fix because bolts for it are under here, and it's got this cross member, and it looks like the motor's got to come up some to get that oil pan out. So that's not going to happen. So we're going to pretend we didn't see that. If we didn't see it, it doesn't exist. Our focus is this transmission fluid pan here. So I got it jacked up, and the way I got it jacked up, it's kind of angled back a little bit. Now the trick is with these transmission oil pans, as you can see, unlike the regular oil, your regular oil, it's got a drain plug here you can pull and drain the fluid and then do your thing. Transmission pans most of the time, unfortunately, do not have that. So if you ain't got a transfer pump where you can put it down where you put your transmission fluid in and suck some out before doing it, then you got to do it this way. Now you can see how this transmission pan shaped. It's wide up here and it narrows down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen all these bolts, and I'm going to try to loosen it to where I loosen this end a little more than this end. That way I can try to direct the majority of the fluid out of this to maintain mess and try to catch it all in there as much of it as I can. So bear with me and we'll get this set up here. Let me set my camera up, and I'll try to do shouldn't take too long, but you can watch me do that. It's going to be kind of boring, but it is what it is. It's got to be done. What I'm going to do to kind of help is take the screwdriver I got here and maybe, you know, alright, we're going to pull the last one here, and we'll have her out. Then we can pull the filter out. Alright, here comes the pan. Nope, I got one left I missed. Where is she at? Right there. Missed one. Come on. There we go. Alright, let's try to maintain the side in there, hopefully. This right here is the actual filter itself. Looks surprisingly clean in here. But what you do, oops, sorry, make sure you're still in the frame here. This is the filter right here, this spot. So all you have to do is grab said filter, wiggle it out of there. The filter's probably going to have a little bit of fluid in it still, so keep that in mind. But you wiggle this out, wiggle, wiggle. It is a tight fit. We're out of here, come on. Well, we didn't want that. But didn't want to do that. Yeah, I broke the little plastic thing, but I got some pliers and stuff. We can pull her out of there. We should be all right. Just a little more extra work. As you can see, when you're trying to extract this, let's see right here, this plastic part of the filter broke out, and there's not much of it in there. It's just, it's a really tight fit. That plastic is fragile, and I broke it, you know, because that's what I do. I break things, but not that big of a deal. It's just gonna make it harder a little bit longer for me to get this out. So when I get this out, we'll give you another look at what I got going on here. There we go. And then here's this little ring. I think we're gonna unmark it up a little bit, so I think I'm gonna get that out of there too, and just go with the new one. You know, I think we'll do that. So we get that out. That's a little piece I had stuck in there. I don't know how well you can see that, but that's a little piece. I'll give you a better look when we get it up top side. But right now, I'm trying to get this. I don't know if I'm hoping you can see. You can see this little ring here. Kind of marred it up a little bit, but it came out nice and neat. I just go with the flow and just leave it. But I got a replacement. It's not that much to get out of there. Screwdriver, hammer. We'll push that to the side a little bit so I can get a hold of it with some pliers. Pop that out, and we'll put the new one in. Better safe than sorry. There we go. She's a tight fit. She's not too bad. Once you can get a hold of it. But yeah, we're replacing that too. Make sure we ain't too close. Normally, if I'd have had a pick or something, you'd get behind it and pull it out. You know, there's some other better tools that you can use, but sometimes you work with what you got. All right, let's take a quick look at what we got going on here. I got the transmission pan off. This is the pan. We'll take a look on the inside. Not too bad. Here's the gasket. That's the gasket that was in it. Doesn't appear to be the factory gasket. This here in the corner is a little magnet, and it collects any shavings and stuff. And I see some in here, but I mean, it could be way worse than what it is. So, see, so it's not too bad. So we'll get this cleaned up, and then I'll show you how I'm going to prep this gasket. We'll get everything cleaned up, and I'll show you how to prep the gasket with the RTV, the pan. We'll clean the bolts up, and we'll clean the transmission underneath, the mating surfaces, and then we'll start putting things back together. So give me a few minutes here, and let me get this stuff cleaned up. I'm going to be using brake cleaner, paper towels, and I got a wire brush here in case I need them for my bolts. I think that I don't need that, but brake cleaner and paper towels, I think that's all we need. Here's the new filter. This will be the new filter right here. This is that little piece we was having a hard time getting out. We got that out. We'll put that in, new filter in. We'll have this clean. I'll show you installing that stuff. We'll have this clean, and then we'll slap her back together. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the seal, I'm going to slide it in this hole. So unfortunately, the seal is giving me a problem because it is misshapen. It's not supposed to kind of be ovally. And you can see where I've started, been trying to get it in there and it started to muck up the edge there. And I don't want that to be a problem. So I have to get a new one. So I ain't going to be able to get a new one till tomorrow morning. So we'll get back at this tomorrow. Alright, here we are the next day. Got my new part in. See, this one's nice and round. The other one was kind of oblong. It was smushed a little bit, so it wasn't going in right. So I called them yesterday evening just before they closed. They got a new one shipped in right away. It showed up this morning. They opened up at 8. I was there by 8:30 and they had it. So alright, we got that in there. I'm satisfied with that. I feel good about that. I'm confident. She's good to go. Now, all I gotta do is slide the filter inside that. There we go. This thing fits really precise right here. They don't leave much room for this filter. And there's like this little thin metal thing right here, just like paper thin metal. And that's about as far as you want to seat your filter down. You want to make sure you get your filter in there all the way, you know what I mean? But it's got like a little cushion here to kind of show you where to stop. But there we go. That was a nice sound. It was kind of like sound like it bottomed out that time. She's in there. I think we're golden, pony boy. Now we'll go inside and prep the gasket and the pan, and I'll show you my procedure, how I'm going to go about that. Maybe show you a trick or two that'll help you, and I'll tell you why I doing the things that I do while I do it. A couple little tricks you kind of pick up here and there. I've caught wind of over time, a little hearsay, but and gaskets can be tricky, you know, when you're trying to line them up and get them to stay in place. I'm going to show you how I'm going to deal with that. So let's go inside where my gasket and stuff is. It's all clean in there, and we'll go play with that. All right, I'm going to attempt to show you how I'm going to do this. You can see I got this gasket here. It's cork. It's all bunched up in the box, so I'm kind of like trying to lay it out so it'll flatten out a little bit, you know what I mean? Then I'm going to take this black RTV, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to put a nice thin coat of this all the way around this. Make sure you get good around the bolt holes. Make sure you get good, you know what I mean? Put a nice layer on here. You don't want it too thick and you don't want it too thin, but make sure you get good coverage. That's the most important thing, especially around these holes. Make sure you got good coverage around them holes. And then we'll let that set for a few minutes, and this will start to get tacky, a little sticky. And then we'll use that stickiness to hold this down, and we'll put this in its place. And the stickiness will hold it there, and then we'll put another layer of that on top. Then we'll let the whole thing sit for about 15-20 minutes. We'll see how I feel and how sticky it's getting. Let it cure, get tacky some. And then we'll take it out to the car and install all 20 bolts. See, I'm taking the time to line up the holes. And go around and press this down firmly, making sure the holes stay in line. Make sure this cork bonds good with this RTV. Now for our second layer of RTV. We're going to repeat the process, and I'll be back in a minute to show you what the end result looks like. You can imagine already, I'm sure. Alright, we got the gasket on there. Got a nice coating of it. Don't want to miss, like I keep saying, Mom, make sure you get around them holes really good. Make sure you got a nice even thin coating. If it's gushing out when you're tightening down, you've got too much. And if you got too much and it's gushing, if it's gushing out, it's probably gushing in, and you don't want to get it in your transmission. This is pretty good. We're gonna let this I'm going to let this sit here like this for about 15 minutes, and I'm going to come back and check it and see what the texture and tackiness. I could go and put it right in right now and, you know, let her down and put some fluid in it. But I want to give this a little bit of time to set up, let it bond, let the molecules come together, still be sticky and pliable and malleable. And then we'll go torque it on there, let her down, and start adding some fluids. And they say that this should, at a minimum, if you can, 2 hours after putting it on. At least that. Even better if you can let it sit overnight or a good 12 hours. But I don't have to go nowhere until maybe tomorrow or something. So it can sit for the rest of the day. I'm going to put it on, put some fluid in. So we'll go do that here in a few minutes. I'll see you then. Alright, here we are back outside. We've let this cure for about 20 minutes-ish. Just so it ain't all slippery and slimy, you know. I mean, it's sticky, but it's firmed up a little bit. I got my brake cleaner to spray everything off. I got some paper towels. My 10mm and my ratchet is down there. And I'll see you when we get down there, and we'll put this up. You don't want to just go around and start doing one after the other. What you kind of want to do is say, like, you do one here, tighten it down some, do one over here, tighten it down some, do one over here, tighten it down some, do one over here, tighten it down some, and then same way going this way. Start in the middle, go that way, and go that way, and that spreads out the pressure of the gasket and your tightness evenly. And this only calls for, from what I've seen, was 10 pounds of foot torque. My torque wrench only goes down to 15 pounds. So I'm going to do my best to get as close to 10 pounds as I can just by hand. You just don't want to over tighten it or under tighten it, you know. I mean, just use a little common sense. A little common sense goes a long ways. 10 pounds isn't much, so try to envision 10 pounds and try to, you know, that's what I do. I try to envision 10 pounds and try to relate 10 pounds to my torquing, you know, how hard I tighten these down. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm done with it. I'm going to let her down and fill her up. We should be good to go there. If I discover I have a leak, I can always come under here, keep an eye on it over the next few days or whatever. If I discover like a little leak or something, or notice a little wet spot in the driveway, I can always get under here and snug up a couple of these bolts, you know what I mean? So, but if I was a betting man, I would say that did it. This stuff here is super thick, so if you can like get away with mixing half and half, you know, it helps get it down in there. But I want to make sure I get both these bottles in there, so I'm going to pour it through the funnel. It's going to be slow going, and then I'll cap it off. After I get those two in there, I'll cap it off with those, check my fluids, and that's pretty much it. So I'm not going to bore you with the whole putting the fluid thing in there. It is what it is. I showed you the important part, how to pull the transmission pan off, drain the fluid, pull your filter out, replace your filter, do your gasket, put everything back together. I showed you the important stuff. Now there's going to be a bunch of videos out there that are going to explain it way better than I did, but it's easy. You can do it, man, woman, child, as long as you got thumbs, and even some people without thumbs. With that, Big Mike's out.